Hey folks, welcome back once again to Indaba Africa. This is Chris, and I've got this question to ask on news from the Mail and Guardian this morning, talking about the South African Human Rights Commission's case against the city of Cape Town. Is the South African Human Rights Commission court case against Cape Town's evictions of squatters yet another case of selective outrage? You be the judge, ladies and gentlemen, but I'll share my views on that. Virtually silent on the phenomena of plaasmoord, or farm murders, and rural violence across South Africa. Farm murders when the ultimate human right is denied, that of life. We see virtually no action on this subject, rural insecurity, or specifically about farm murders. Notice I didn't say any ethnic group or race there. Simply the denial of the ultimate human right, the right to live. Lots of instant attention from the South African Human Rights Commission in the midst of the Springboks going to South Africa under a fraudulent claim, under a cooked-up scenario to tarnish the reputation of Eben Etzebeth and paint him as a racist. The South African Human Rights Commission is all over that, jumping on top of it, yet takes virtually no action on the phenomenon of farm murders. Now, I mention this because, of course, Cape Town is not the first or only metropolitan district to go after people living in informal settlements. And what happened here? Well, when the Johannesburg Metropolitan Police, on at least two occasions, 3 months ago, destroyed long-established informal settlements on the southwest corner, or the southern corner, of Johannesburg. Two occasions, they brought the red ants out to demolish homes, beat up informal residents, and rob them of their mobiles, the cash they had on hand, and leave these people homeless in the midst of an approaching winter during a coronavirus outbreak. After the Minister of Justice, Rodney Lamola, had stated that no evictions from occupied informal settlements were permissible at all under lockdown, even with a court order. He said this. Yet the Johannesburg Metro, on numerous occasions, at least two we have documented occasions of here, photographic evidence of it, eyewitness testimony, newspaper reports, interviews, video footage of the ransacking of long-established informal settlements. These weren't tents. These weren't tin shacks. Some were, but most were long-built informal settlements. Some of these people have been living there for 5 years on this land. State-owned land, land owned by the municipality of Johannesburg. So it wasn't even impinging on the rights of a private landowner, inhibiting farm activity or cattle raising or intruding in someone's property. It was state-owned property. They sent the red ants out to demolish these homes, to beat up these residents, and to rob them. The police were involved in this. They're complicit in this, in clear, direct violation of the government. Now, I may be wrong. Perhaps they're out there, and if they are, I'll apologize to the South African Human Rights Commission. But where are the court cases against the Johannesburg Metro controlled by the African National Congress? Why is it that for this eviction of a single person from an unoccupied dwelling that he moved into during the midst of the pandemic, are you busy filing court cases against the Cape Town metropolitan area? Is it because perhaps that you do the bidding of the African National Congress and not that of the South African people? Ostensibly, the South African Human Rights Commission should be concerned about the human rights of all South Africans, regardless of what city, what rural part of the country they live in. But it seems strange that you only care when you can target a particular race or minority and or an opposition party in governance. Now, having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I take exception to the Democratic Alliance evicting this person. Even though this person moved into this in the midst of the lockdown, it was not appropriate for them to evict someone under the national emergency situation. It's simply not right. And it was wrong in Johannesburg, and I spoke out against it then. I speak out against it in Cape Town. I mentioned it previously, and I'll mention it once again. Cape Town authorities should not be evicting people from informal settlements. Now, the difference here is when someone invades a place in the midst of this, They have a legitimate case. But they need to find a way to house the people elsewhere. Now, what's interesting about this is that these people didn't just magically appear and they were homeless. They were somewhere else. Where has this man been living all this time? So this is about the Cape Town metropolitan area having evicted Bulelani Holani from a shack at the Etumbeni informal settlement in Kailisheta in the Cape Flats back in July. Now, the High Court judges Yasmin Mia and Roshani Ali have both ruled against the Cape Town. Mia said that law enforcement officers determined without a court order that homes on occupied land should be demolished. And indeed, she's corrected that. But this is a vile statement here, likening this reminiscent of the apartheid era brutal forced removals. And those of the Red Ants and the Johannesburg Metropolitan Police in Johannesburg, what is that reminiscent of? A pleasant little pool party in Wuhan to celebrate the end of COVID-19 in Wuhan? No. And that occurred long ago. Where's the action on that? I realize these judges are on this case, not another one, but where's the inflammatory language not calling that forced removals? I said that when the Red Ants did that, and I mentioned it when they did it in Cape Town when they evicted people. But this inconsistency within the government of South Africa makes one wonder if the government is bought and paid for. The courts, that is. Now, they told the South African police that they've been ordered to ensure that if they're present, all national laws are obeyed in conformity with the Constitution. Duh! Isn't that the role of the South African Police Service, to ensure that all laws under the Constitution are obeyed? What are they there for? Hand out cigarettes? Congratulate people on the birth of their child? No. Their job is to ensure the law is followed. Always. Why do you have to tell the police that? That's their job. Yikes. Anyway, the ruling sided with the South African Human Rights Commission and Housing Assembly's contention. Housing Assembly is a non-government organization. That the ongoing land occupation is being driven by homelessness, poverty, and desperation. I take exception to that. It is the poorest of the poor, the downtrodden and unemployed, who seek refuge in informal settlements and erect structures to provide shelter. So what? What does that have to do with the rule of law? Not a damn thing, Judge Mir, Judge Ali. Not a damn thing to do with the rule of law. The rule of law requires people not to steal and occupy land that does not belong to them, that they don't have clear title to. Knock it off. And I don't want to hear this. This is especially so during catastrophic times we are forced to endure while the coronavirus pandemic rages. These people who move into spaces or land and build shacks in the midst of the virus have come from somewhere else that they were living. They weren't born from the womb and popped out on this place illegally. They moved somewhere. Where were they? They had some sort of shelter. They all weren't living in the open veld or on the beaches before this. If they were, they would have been evicted from there. So something is rotten in the state of Denmark, or in this case, with the South African Human Rights Commission, which seems very unconcerned about human rights and much more concerned about doing the bidding of the African National Congress. Now, the court is demanded that Cape Town pay compensation for the loss of personal possessions in the sum of 2,000 rand per person. Consider it would be fair in all circumstances. A list of names of affected persons must be provided to the city. This is insane. The city must compensate those who break the law and reward them for breaking the law. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go occupy land in the Cape Flats and throw a couple pieces of tin together that I get for 10 rand and wait for the cops to come evict me. And then I'll demand my 2,000 rand compensation without any evidence of any property having been destroyed or confiscated by the police. This is insanity, utter insanity. You don't govern in this fashion. Now, the department's views. This is from the South African Human Rights Commission. The National Department of Human Settlements, they were also responding to the case, so part of the government. The government was attacking its own self, the municipal government being attacked by the national government. The department's views are aligned with the council and with Section 26 of the Constitution, the Disaster Management Act, and lockdown regulations. Arbitrary evictions are illegal. A court order must be sought and must be given. Without a court order, after people have lived in a space for over 48 hours, then evictions are illegal. This requires vigilance on the part of municipalities, but most importantly, a proper plan for urbanization in the urban poor, said Department spokesman Yonela Diko. Are you smoking crack cocaine? Are you zolling in the Department of Human Settlements? Are you serious? So you are endorsing the illegal theft and occupation of land if it occurs within 48 hours. You can kick people off. But after 48 hours, these criminals are entitled to land? What planet are you living on? I'll tell you what. You go on holiday. Let me occupy your palatial little mansion, you ANC cadre. And when you come back, it's my house. Because you've been gone more than 48 hours and I can't be evicted. What kind of stupidity and moronic, idiotic logic is this? What about the people that lived for 5 years and built brick homes on state land, city land in Johannesburg, only to be evicted on the verge, the appearance of winter in the Southern Hemisphere back in June? The Red Ants beating up homeowners, robbing them of their mobile phones, and stealing the cash they had on hand, leaving their homes in rubble, leaving them in the high veld in wintertime, unprotected, in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic, after the Minister of Justice declared that no one, even with a court order, could be evicted from their informal residence or their home. Clear violation of Section 26 of the Constitution, the Disaster Management Act. No action taken there. Where is the South African Human Rights Commission? Where is the South African Human Rights Commission for the family of Edward Neumeister, for the Brand family, for the Indian lady butchered at the Ayub farm near Renan? Where is the South African Human Rights Commission? Absent, without leave, AWOL, ladies and gentlemen. That's where the South African Human Rights Commission is. Not concerned about human rights in South Africa unless it's the human rights of a potential ANC voter. Your job is the population, the people, the citizens of South Africa, South African Human Rights Commission, not to do the bidding of the African National Congress in its racialization of society. This is sad, it's pathetic, and it's unwarranted, and it must stop. South Africa is headed down a dark path, and it's sad. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, I'm a little disturbed by this. Cape Town is wrong. They shouldn't be evicting people unless they've got somewhere to put them. But people should not be rewarded for stealing land and violating the law. 48 hours and then you're gold and you're free? I will visit South Africa, wait for ANC cadre to go and leave, and occupy their homes. And after 48 hours, it's mine. How do you like those odds? Department of Human Settlements. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you found this video interesting or thought-provoking or maybe triggering, feel free to become a subscriber. You smash that subscription button right down there. Be sure to toggle the bell icon because YouTube is capricious. Sometimes it updates subscribers, sometimes it doesn't, and you have to select all notifications. And then hopefully you'll be notified of my videos, whether they're live streams, special feature interviews, or these prepared videos. Feel free to leave a comment. I try to read all comments. If it's abusive, don't waste your time. If it's constructive, I'll do my best to read it. And finally, I ask that you smash that like button right down there because likes drive viewership. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been my video on the court case against Cape Town about evicting this gentleman back in July. And my discussion about why we haven't seen cases and why they're not prominent about the Red Ants, the Johannesburg Metro, or the complete neglect of rural violence in South Africa and the ultimate loss of human rights, that of life. There's no more precious human right than the right to live, ladies and gentlemen. Where is the South African Human Rights Commission on that? Have a pleasant day.